Hello, guys. Hello. So, right now, I'm going to tell you the basis of all the thought work, and that is the model. This is the model, which is circumstance. C is circumstance, thought, feeling, action, and result. This is the thought model. Okay. This is something which will help you navigate through all your emotional problems. Okay. Because what happens is we have around 60,000 thoughts in a day, right? And these are basically just sentences in our mind and which are triggering the feelings, which are triggering the actions, and in turn producing the results. So circumstance, C is the circumstance. This is circumstance is what is going on the outside. So if you take a toddler, a kid, like my kid Mia, she gets up in the morning and she has this outside world, and her brain does not know how to think as of now because she's like 2. Maybe she knows, we don't know. So she's getting stimuluses outside, from the outside world. They are neutral. Like for you and me, like a glass of water is glass of water, like it's just sitting there. Whereas for her, it's going to be like, huh, that's something interesting, let me go and see what I can do with it. Yeah. So it's a neutral circumstance. A glass of water can mean anything to anybody. Like for me, I'm gonna be like, oh god, I'm so thirsty, I need to go and drink it. But for someone like, who's like an old lady, she's gonna look at it and she's gonna be like, I don't want to drink that because I'm gonna want to pee and I don't want to go to pee, it's just too much work. Yeah. So it can produce, a glass of water is a neutral circumstance, and it can produce any sort of thoughts in your brain, right? So circumstance is neutral in situation. It's a fact. It generally is without adjectives. It's something which everyone can agree with, that that's what it is. Yeah. So that's a circumstance. Then the circumstance, that is the outside stimulus, is going to trigger a sentence in your brain, which is a thought. So thought is a sentence in your brain. So in order to simplify and to keep a thought model very basic and clear, uh, and to see where you're going with these thoughts, it's best if you keep simple sentences as your thoughts and not make it compound, because if you made a compound sentence in thoughts, that means those are two different thought models, and those two parts are producing different feelings and actions. Okay. Then you have, the thought is triggering a feeling. It's basically a vibration in your body. Okay. So the brain has a sentence. Okay. It will produce this feeling in your body, which is basically a vibration or a sense, like it's a manifestation in your body, which will fuel your actions. So A is the actions. So actions is basically the things that you do or you don't do, things which happen externally, like what you do, or internally, as in what happens inside, like what you think further. Yeah. And the result is what is happening because of the action, and that is basically the evidence supporting the thought. So what happens is, these are the actions that you do, and the result will eventually support the thought, and you will realize that it is this thought which is causing this result. Okay. Now this model is applicable in every aspect of your life. All right. So now I will start with one model. Like I'll just show you, because this is what we do when we are doing the thought downloads. What is happening is, the thought downloads is all these sentences in our mind, and we just look at a sentence which is basically like, going to keep on running in the background, and it will keep on producing, like it's sort of, let's see, the circumstance is, um, that I'm getting ready for work, or work, getting ready for work. Everyone can agree that we are getting ready for work. Okay. All right. And your thought, you look at yourself in the mirror and you think, I'm fat. And you feel, how do you feel? You feel ashamed. Yeah. And when you're ashamed, what you do, because this is a sentence that your brain comes up with when it sees yourself in the mirror. It says that, dude, you're fat. And the feeling that is generated by this thought is ashamed. And the action that is produced is you, what you do, what you do is, and what you don't do, and what happens externally and internally. So, what do you do when you think that you are fat and you're ashamed of yourself? You basically go and, you know, you sulk. This is more of an internal emotion again. And then, you keep on buying, you get some loose clothes. You keep on adjusting your clothes. Then when it's time to eat, you obviously land up overeating, and you eat out of protocol, eat all the junk, not just overeat, you binge eat, you eat all the junk to feel better about yourself. And then what you don't do is you don't, have any sort of compassion for yourself, even if, like, there is, like, your brain is blocking all the compassion that you have for yourself, because you will never look at yourself, the good in you, when you're thinking so negative of yourself that I'm fat. So you will end up having this compassion, lack of compassion. You don't have compassion for yourself. You don't eat healthy. You don't exercise probably, because you're just like, what's the point? Yeah. So when you do all these things, you sulk, you get loose clothes, you adjust your clothing to, like, not look fat, you overeat, you eat junk food, you don't have compassion for yourself, you don't eat healthy food, you don't exercise. What happens is, because of these actions, is you continue to be fat, or you grow even fatter. Yeah. Or get fatter. I mean, you're clearly not losing weight. So if you can see, this thought, I am fat, is producing the result. You continue to be fat, isn't it? Because what most people think is the feeling which comes first, which will produce a thought. But it's not how it is. That's not how it is. It's always a thought which triggers a feeling. And this is how the sequence works. And the best news, when I say that we can manage, I'm going to train you how to manage your mind, is that this thought is optional. Okay? Now, in the beginning, like, I will show you why and how it is optional. Because it's our mind. Okay? Now, you can have variety of thoughts when it comes to this. You can, suggest a lot of things that you can come up with. I mean, you can go full on. This is your brain I'm talking about. You can go full crazy. I give you full permission to say and do whatever you want to do with respect to. Sorry. Okay. Now, so we have an option of thoughts, right? Like the first thought that comes to my mind when I see myself in the morning in the mirror is, like, the circumstance is still the same. See myself in the mirror, say. Right? This is the circumstance. See myself in the mirror. Now, your thought can be anything. Like, can be I'm fat, or I don't like what I see, or all the negative shit that you can come up in your thought download. You will come up with it once you start seeing what is going on in your brain, really. But suppose if you come up with something like, if you just tell yourself that, let's see, I'm just gonna be like a bit crazy and be a bit out of the box, and see what maybe that I can think. What can I really think? Like, if I have the option to be completely delusional about it, what am I gonna say? That you can say that I'm pretty, yeah, or you can say I'm hot, or you can say like, I love myself. But right now you are in the phase that you're thinking that I'm fat, right? So from I'm fat and I'm ugly, from there to reach I love myself, I look hot, it's like completely your brain will not accept it, right? So you need to come up with something like a baby thought, we can say, or um, or a ladder thought. Like you can say something like, maybe it's possible that I like what I see. Yeah, I know it's a compound sentence, but you can just remove the maybe then. Yeah, um, it's possible that I like what I see, right? When you say this thought to your brain, it's possible that I like what I see. It's your brain, right? How do you feel when you think this thought? It's possible that I like what I see. You can feel a bit compassion in this, yeah, or you can feel a bit kind, right? And then you sort of, in your actions, what what are the actions that you will take? Yeah, the actions that you can take when you're coming from a place of compassion, when you are looking at yourself like the way you would look at your child or your puppy or your kid, or like a kid. How do you think? Like, would you think, like, you look at your kid and imagine that the kid keeps telling herself that I'm ugly, I'm fat, and she's your kid, and you're like, oh my god, how can you even say that to yourself? You're so pretty, don't you know? Like, that's compassion. Yeah. So when you are coming from a place of compassion, what do you say? What do you do? Well, when I think that it's possible that I like what I see, maybe I would, like, you know, do things like be an observer, observe myself, my actions, be kind to myself, to way I talk to myself, then probably eat healthy, watch what I'm eating. What else? You don't belittle yourself. You appreciate the goodness that you are. Appreciate yourself. And the result is really that you like, it's possible that really I like what I see. Okay. So now, what I this is like, it takes time for you to realize and work on the model. It took me years, like literally. And this is your thought and this is your model, so you can put any of your thoughts that you have in your thought download into this model and try to see what sort of result you are creating. Okay, because the model is always working in any given circumstance. So put any thought that you have in the thought line, or you can put your actions into the action line, or you can put your feelings into the feeling line, or have a result you can put here, or you can just put a circumstance, like anywhere. You can start the model anywhere. Just remember that you need to complete the model. Okay. And eventually what will happen is, like, we coaches, we like to think in models, so we run like maybe 3 4 models a day, or like when we are stuck and we see ourselves spinning in negative place, we will run a model and see how it is going. And this is available for you also. And it's so magical that just this shift will produce this sort of action, because this is the conversation that you're having with your brain. And it's a bit complicated, but then eventually it gets easier the more you apply it, because it's a tool, Okay, so this is a thought model. If you have any questions, please message me, and we can discuss any of your models in our coaching sessions.